Well, we just got back from LA this morning, so hey, we're here. And anyway, I wanted to thank everyone for coming. And I just want you to know that this is one of the rare outdoor concerts that we've done so far. But I was just saying to some friends, we hope to do more of them. And this is a great way to have our first outdoor event this summer is with these wonderful people, Consider the Source. We're just heard and actually seen things that we were very, very impressed with. We had not heard of Consider the Source, and we saw you online, and we were completely bowled over. So we're delighted, and you have a lot of friends here. So we're the last to know, and we're looking forward to the live version very much. Hey, Alex, you want to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say welcome to everyone to CoSM, and our effort here is to emphasize the connection between creativity and spirituality. And I think what better and more contemporary creative expression of that than our guests, Gabe and John and Jeff. Could you guys come out here and we could talk a little bit about...
Yeah, let's talk. All right, now,
Great.
just look more central.
Now, you give them
This one, okay.
We'll take one.
And we'll share. You'll all share. You can only talk one of them. Which one you want? Here, sweetie.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you. Thank you all for coming here. Now, can you speak to that aspiration as a creative person? Do you feel, how do you feel the relationship of your spirituality and creative practice work together?
Well, you know, it's funny. When I first started playing music, it was initially completely ego-based. I was 13 years old, and I started playing because my brother played guitar, and he got a lot of attention. And I was like, well, all right, I'm going to play bass, you know, whatever. And then, you know, as time went on, and especially as when this band formed, it took on a totally different thing, you know. In the practice of it itself, you know, when you're you have your instrument with you day in and day out, you're playing hours and hours a day, a lot of things happen. You fall into sort of like meditative states when you're practicing, especially, you know, we do a lot of stuff playing with metronomes, stuff like that. Now, while you're doing that, you literally get sent somewhere else, and you're doing it for a long time. And what happens is, at least for me, like a lot of realizations just start happening as a byproduct of it. So in the practice alone, that's the thing that happens. In the performing of it, you know, we're up here, we're communicating with one another, we're learning about each other, learning about ourselves, listening, and, you know, just trying to dig as deep as possible.
We want to hear from the other gentleman. Like,
Well,
okay,
if
we want to
they'd
know.
like, yeah.
It's about your. Do you feel that you have a spiritual life, and if so, how is it practiced? I mean, how do you feel it in your?
Well, I have a very active spiritual life. I practice Sufi Islam, which is it's a lot of stuff and it's a lot of rules, and fast every year, pray 3-5 times a day, and I can keep that up on tour a lot, and it helps the music a lot because you believe that the music is a form of just like in real life, it's you're joking around with your friends and everything like that, but for at least an hour a day, you can really just focus on trying to be the best you can be. And hopefully, I know that being in this band has caused me to be a better listener musically, which has caused me to be a far better listener as a person, which is, you know, so that's just a way that, you know, being a better musician, being a better spiritually helps you in everyday life. And that, so you try to improve yourself as a person. Hopefully that improves your emotional expressiveness when you play and your ability to not play from your own ego, which is hard because, you know, this is very technical based music. So you have to push yourself in your instrument, but then you don't want to play, okay, check out my fingers. This is cool. You know what I'm saying? If you want to play something quick, at least do it for the right reasons, you know? And so I really feel that spirituality helps you do stuff for the right reasons and not for show-offy reasons.
Yeah, and I would just add that it's kind of like playing music. It's, you know, we have instruments, but we ourselves are really the instruments. And it's, you know, half the battle is in our minds playing and working together and getting along on the road and stuff like that. And it's like constantly trying to, you know, better ourselves through our music. And the thing that I think we strive for is those moments where we're really like, you know, they're not the most common moments, but we have moments where like the music's really, really there. And it's, you know, the audience is there, especially when it's live. And you kind of get to these like breakthrough places that I haven't found other really ways, well, some other ways, but music is one of the, you know, the ones that I can practice and get better at and do with, you know, people in a safe place.
Well, in that regard, it seems that music has a unique gifts that it gives to listeners, and that a more heightened sense of listening is something that each one of you seem to have already evolved. In how many years have you been together?
We've been a band for about, 9 years ago we met. Gabe and I met, and we started playing music, and it was an instant connection. And for a long time, it was just improvising together. We'd have a couple of riffs, and we'd play, and just, you know, listening, like you're saying, was there from the very beginning. It was just literally, we had like, 5 riffs or something like that we did, or 3 actually, yeah, that we did for a long time. And it was just, we would do a show based on those. It was no compositions even. So the listening part of it was there from the get-go. We started taking the band very seriously about 5 or 6 years ago. You know, we decided that there was enough going on, and we were so happy with what we were doing, and happy that some people were liking it. And we decided, let's make this our lives. And at that point, it's, you know, that's like, I feel like when we really, really started.
I wanted to go back to the art as a spiritual practice, or creativity as a spiritual practice subject for a second. And just, I couldn't help wanting to tell everybody that doesn't already know this, probably most of you realize that tomorrow we have Art Church. And that is one of the things that we do at CoSM to practice the spiritual practice of art. And what happens at Art Church is that people bring like a sketchbook or simple art supplies, you know, just simple things they can carry. And we sit down, and tomorrow actually we have percussionists, gongsters, the whole planetary gongs will be here. So we sit in silence and reverie, we call it, and we just draw and listen to the gongs, or other musicians that come at various art churches. We always have music. So it's music, art, and meditation, silence, for, you know, like an hour. And then we have usually a program afterwards, and we have a program tomorrow. So because we have a break, and then so that's our ritual, that is our spiritual practice. But I thought it would also be only fair to say that Alex and I also, well, that is our spiritual practice every night in our studio, or at all of our art classes. But we also meditate on our own in the morning and do yoga as a spiritual practice. But I think both of those things are artistic or creative in a way, don't you?
You said the meditation itself?
Well, meditation is, you get so much, you get flooded. It's not creative in the sense of manifesting. It's more creative in a sense of like charging your battery for creating.
Well, I think all the things that come from it are not all the things, but a lot of things that come from it are intangible. You meditate, and I think maybe the creative side is, you know, finding different ways to silence your mind. You know, your mind is always judging, or it's always condemning, or doing something, or it's not, or it's doing great things, or it's saying great things. But either way, when you're meditating, you're trying to get past that and silence it. And there are a lot of different ways to do that in itself. So,
No, I don't meditate that way.
oh, okay,
I meditate by inclusion.
okay.
You know, I meditate. It's a meditation called Witness, where I listen to everything like it's a John Cage symphony. You know, I couldn't learn to meditate in the city without doing it like that. I mean, you could put earplugs in, I suppose, but it seemed more like more possible for me to think of a John Cage symphony and just like let it be the moment of the horns honking and the siren going down the street and the people upstairs dancing and whatever was going on. Just like make it music, like make it a symphony. And also in my vision doing the same thing. But no, I think that also that the results of meditation can be very tangible, don't you?
I could answer in the affirmative as well, that the some of the higher creative moments come when you do stop your mind kind of and say, oh, hey, creator, what do you want me to do?
Listen.
And then you give it a minute before you break in. Yeah, right. And in that moment, I actually conceived of the inspiration for Entheon, which is now in the, I guess, one of the higher points of this land as a kind of cistern that was graffitied on, so we put our own graffiti on of heads that are interlocking all the way around. The sun altar, yes. And so that came right as a result of being in meditation not far from there and asking what it would want. And so... About that particular matter. And so it's led to a whole thing. But I'm thinking that this has to happen to you guys on the fly and continuously. Yes. Oh, that's true.
Maybe they do it in a different way.
You want to take this? Go first. Okay. Well, you know, one thing we said before in our talk earlier on was that, you know, what we do in this band with a lot of improvising and listening, our performances itself are kind of a meditation. You know, the whole thing is listening and being reactive and open. And, you know, like there are some times where Gabe will be playing something and it's crazy. Like, it's like, all right, now, what am I supposed to do with that? But then, you know, when you're being reactive and you're on the fly, it calls up whatever you got inside and you put it out there instantly. You know, there's no time for even judgment or anything. It's just, okay, you're doing that? Okay, I'm doing this, you know, and then Jeff's doing this. And then I'm doing that based on what he's doing. And so in that way, kind of our whole set is a meditative process. There are times where we don't even remember. Like someone will say, oh, that thing you did in that one song, that was really cool. Like,
I thought you did.
News to me. But, yeah.
Well, Gabe, tell us, can you would it be wrong to ask what you say in your prayers?
Well, there's a different process. Like, we don't have Sufism or Islam. We don't meditate. We have something called zikr, which means remembrance. And there's different phrases, or we believe there's 99 names of God, and they each stand for a different quality. And so as you chant these phrases, you don't try to, you're not focusing on your emotions. You're focusing on changing your bad qualities to good qualities. Because that's really what the whole purpose is. Everyone has bad qualities. We all do. The best.
But when you're in there, that's what you're doing. You're chanting the 99 names of God.
Sometimes you take a couple of their phrases based on them, their rhythmic phrases, their breath phrases, and there's a lot of numbers things. We have prayer beads that have 99 beads. So there's often 33, 99, or 165 repetitions of different things. And, you know, you're trying to just not think about anything else. You're not trying to be creative or anything like that. And that's the difference is every day is creative. You know, the birds are creative. Walking is creative. We jam a lot. Music is in my head all the time. So it's actually more difficult and creative to not be thinking about music, to not be. And it's hard because we don't have that much time. And if I have 2 hours a night, I got to practice for 2 hours. Or how do I justify spending 45 minutes just sitting there and doing something? But the justification is that you're just more open. And that's just more important because you know, very bad mental problems, thinking stuff and just hating what I play while I played, improvising, and it's just negative, and that's not good. And because you're trying to push yourself. So what's the balance? You know, you want to be the best you can be, and you have to be hard on yourself. But in the moment, that just destroys creativity. You know, so the ability to just focus on different things and totally not on yourself is the best. So when we're improvising, I'm gone. I'm hearing what they're playing, but I'm gone, and that's good.
Now, Jeff, can I ask Jeff a question? Sure. Would you say that when you're playing your music that you're in the moment?
I'd say most of the time, more than half, I'm trying to be in the moment. Trying to get myself to, tell myself, why aren't you in the moment?
Now, when you're trying to be in the moment, isn't that like leaving the moment and then bringing yourself back into the moment?
Well, it's funny because I'll be thinking for 30 seconds, like, stop thinking about what you're going to eat afterwards or something. And then I'll also realize that I had no idea what came, out of me the last 30 seconds musically, because I've just been thinking about eating or something. And then I was like, I guess I was kind of in the moment if I wasn't paying attention to what I was playing. But it's not like it doesn't feel right somehow.
You went on automatic.
Yeah.
There is something that after all the years of your study and training that you can actually go on automatic. I know that I go on automatic when I'm painting on my own, because sometimes I watch a movie. And I love it. It's juicy. It makes it fun. Anybody who's seen my work sees how labor intensive it is. So it's like knitting or doing needlepoint. Once I've figured it all out, I can kind of go on automatic sometimes. But then we'll do art church, and I'll be there with the music, improvising and in the moment. I always improvise at art church. So we recommend that you bring art supplies, and like if you're not an artist and you don't think of yourself as an artist, bring art supplies anyway. And pretend that you're in kindergarten and just see what, comes through, and just put it down, That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah,
I let myself do anything.
And I was going to add also that whenever I try and, if I catch myself kind of thinking too much or whatever, I always try and just remind myself to listen to these guys and just kind of become more of a listener than a player, and just, kind of listen to the music as it's happening instead of thinking about it. And that often works, which is helpful.
So beautiful. And I just wanted to add that as this unique creative flow transpires before us, and that we were so grateful for your generous spirits that bring it here in this beautiful nature field, there is a subtle, energetic body that's weaving us all together as a kind of group soul temporarily. And I always like to acknowledge that it's activating our light bodies somehow. And so I feel music's the perfect medium to share that light. And we call on the nature field and all spirits that are here with us today. Just support this positive vibration and in peace and love with each other. And we welcome you. Brothers, you bet. Yes, thank you.
So we're going to step off stage for like 5 minutes, get our brains together and check some sounds.
And we're going to go over here and get ourselves set up and be painting. But we're going to have guest chairs, so we'll have them.